We are rolling. Yay.
Back in our home where we belong.
Yes. I thought we would do another one in the car, but it's just not the same. It's not the same without the purple light.
It's also, I spend a lot of the podcast making sure I'm not going to slam us into another car or barrier or something.
There's
So,
been a lot of near misses while
yeah.
we've been driving in the car doing this.
I don't know what I'm doing either. Let's be lost, we'll be lost together. I don't know what I'm doing either. Let's be lost, we'll be lost.
Welcome to Mercy and the Mans, where we talk about our life as a married couple, running a band together. We talk about industry stuff. We talk about lifestyle stuff. We talk about all the stuff in between. And one of our favorite things to do is debrief some of the gigs that we've been doing. And the last time we talked, we were on our way to Cache Creek and we were doing new songs.
Yeah, it was the beginning of actually working after having most of a month off. Although we had said previously, we did do some rock and roll team building stuff, but it's a little different. Like the workflow is a little different. Responsibilities are a little different. So Cache Creek really felt like the kind of kickoff of like Mercy hitting the ground running again.
Yeah, because we've already done 6 gigs since that.
Yeah, it went from 0 to 100 very fast.
So we definitely started off, but we were laughing about the 2 songs that we added. So we did Man Child, Sabrina Carpenter, and you did I Just Might. And since we haven't actually done those ones since.
No, it's kind of the tricky thing about adding new songs. It's like when we get into wedding season, if we're adding new songs, it's usually because the clients requested them, and sometimes they stay in the set or on the song list, and sometimes they don't. When we decide to add new songs, it's sort of like put the effort into learning, and you put like backing tracks together, you get everything kind of dialed, and then if a client doesn't request it, it's not on one of their not on their song list or whatever, then it might sit for a while. But I'm pretty sure those songs will come back, especially once we get into like city concert season, which is coming very quickly, like basically a month maybe.
Yeah.
Then we get to pick what we want to play, and that's when I'll make sure that we have a real good, healthy dose of like new stuff, because I get a little. Maybe it doesn't matter, but I get self-conscious thinking about like coming in, because we play some of these places more than once, sometimes back-to-back years, sometimes multiple years in a row. Sometimes we play a year, take a year off, they bring us back the year after. It's kind of a rotation through a lot of these different cities. And so I'm always like a little sensitive to like coming back, because I know what I'll put together if I'm given my freedom to put together a set list. I know what I'm going to put in there. I know what just works, the flow, the order, the variety, all that. But I get really sensitive to like the idea of coming back to a place we've already played and like basically playing the same songs in the same order. Like I don't want to do that.
Do you even go back and look at the set list that we did previous?
I don't. It's just a feeling. Like it's a feeling of like, oh, I know we've done, like there's just blocks of tunes that I've put together or just have ended up that way over the years, and those blocks haven't like disappeared. It's just like a lot of times now, like we had a number of years where it was like, Dreams into Jolene, and that kind of like surrounded by some other stuff. But then we started doing Everywhere. And if we're only doing like one set or 2 shorter sets at like a city concert, probably only going to do one Fleetwood Mac song. So like I rotate to that, or like, we do Dancing Queen, Staying Alive is a thing. I mean, we're not the only band to do that, but it's one of the kind of medleys we do. But then we started doing Gimme, Gimme, Gimme due to a wedding.
Right.
And that song is awesome. That song kills. I mean, Dancing Queen is pretty much a home run, but that's an opportunity, like, peek behind the curtain. Like that's an opportunity I feel to play a song not everybody else plays.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll lean that direction.
I love that song. I have to say I'm a little embarrassed that I didn't really, like, I've heard of it, but I also knew it from the EDM mashup.
Oh,
the sample that they do, and that is so my type of song. It is so ridiculously theatrical, and
it really is.
It's
I
so fun
I
to
mean,
sing.
I mean, not. I don't think it'll surprise anybody to know I'm not like a huge ABBA fan. I wasn't like hip to the ABBA discography, but like I only heard that song because I was asked to DJ. Um, every once in a while, I'm asked to DJ after parties.
Yep.
Basically, I'm not a full time DJ, but it's cheaper to have me do it than it is to bring in a whole nother vendor. And a few of these, it was like their song list was like 6 ABBA songs. So, that was one that I made sure to get in there because it's kind of a dance beat. And it's interesting. I like the little synthy thing that happens. So
Yeah.
that was like the first time I really felt like I was like super hip to that song. I'm sure I've heard it
Yeah.
before, but it wouldn't have like stuck in my head and as a thing to like seek out.
So anyway, going back to the songs that we did learn,
Yes.
Man Child and I Just Might, we were laughing about how we kind of nailed them on the first day. Not that we didn't do well on the second day, but we nailed them on the first day. And then the second day was like not as good. It was like 95%. But like
Yeah.
I
The,
felt like, man, we came out, we slammed them and it was like, just so proud of how we did it. And then the second one was like, I missed a line here or there, or didn't quite hit the pitch as well as because I felt like a little like, wait, is this where I go with this? Whereas the first day, I felt like we just came out gangbusters.
playing a casino especially, but like playing any place back to back, like Cash Creek, we do 2 nights in a row. Um, and I used to change the set because I looked at it as an opportunity to like just get a bunch of stuff in. But like honestly, with a bunch of stuff going on, like writing 2 different sets for it's yeah.
Yeah,
But it's like, but it's tricky because it feels like it's always one of 2 things. It's either we roll in and the first night the band's like really focused and tight and we sound great, and the second night it's a little like it's not bad, it's just kind of like a little looser, or reverse. And I feel that way about doing songs like that. Like the fact that we rolled in and nailed those songs. If we had rolled in and like had a couple flubs or a couple things, I'm like, oh shoot, I almost flubbed that line or whatever, and then we nailed it the second night, it would have felt much different. Like the fact that
yes.
we came in and like both nailed them first go, and then the second night it was kind of like, oh shoot, I probably should listen to that. Like,
Yeah.
it feels different.
Yeah. But and shout out to Joe and Tess.
Yeah, I wish you guys had filmed the first night versions of those songs,
Yeah.
but it's all right.
No. And Joe actually posted some of Manchild, and I was like, okay, well, it wasn't as bad as I remembered it. I mean, it always feels like it's way worse, and then you see it played back, and you're like, okay, now you and me will pick apart every second of the clip. We will pick apart and we will own and take accountability for every single second of the clip. But I was a little bit more graceful with myself with like it wasn't as bad. But again, shout out to Joe and Tess. They drive 2 hours to come see us at Cash Creek, and this is the second time they've come to see us. And it is not lost on us of how cool that is and how good that feels that people will come and show up. And so thank you, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate the content that you post, because it's also nice to not always be posting our own content.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, for the first time ever, they also changed the rules at Cash Creek. We
Oh,
can't film anymore. We can't take pictures or film from stage. So that was new, and I was like, oh man,
Yeah. I mean, we love the Cash Creek Cruise. So it's not a. I mean, it's whatever. But I kind of chuckled at the idea of like you walk into a casino, there's cameras, like you're under surveillance from the second that you walk in there,
Yep.
and the idea that like we would out somebody or something bad would happen because we're filming from the stage at a casino. It's like they don't check. You don't need a ticket to get in. They don't check you at the door. You can walk right in the front door. But at the
Right.
same time, like I understand, like all like what is it, like all safety rules are like written in blood, basically. Like something bad must have happened for and somebody must have complained or something must have happened
Well,
for
the
them.
second night there was a guy that was very, very over his skis. So I could see that he would not have wanted to like end up, but also
I've seen him there before over his skis, so he must not be that worried about it.
it's true. It's true. So we had Cache Creek, and then we came home, and
Unless I jump timelines and I'm just having deja vu,
no,
but I'm pretty sure I've seen that guy there
he's a
before.
regular, and we do love our regulars.
Yeah. I don't
Um,
think he's there to see us specifically
no,
though.
he's there. I think he's probably there every weekend, maybe even every night. Who knows? And then we came back and flew immediately to Denver for the quickest turnaround. We
Yeah,
did rock and roll team building.
oh, sorry, that's stepping on you.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
that was one of the. Yeah, I mean, we're used to kind of flying in the night before and doing the gig, and then flying out the day after. This was like fly in, have dinner, basically go do like a late. Like they didn't get the room until like we were supposed to sound check at 10 at
10,
night,
10
and
p.m.
there was some miscommunication. This is not it's not really the sound guy's fault. They were prepared for one scenario, and we kind of threw a different scenario at them. But it ended up with us sound checking until like 1:30 in the morning,
I don't
and
think we
then
started the sound check until 1:30 in the
it was
morning.
very late.
It was
And then
very
yeah,
late.
and then we turned around, and the actual event was sort of in the morning the next day.
Mhm.
And then we basically we had time to get a quick little snack and a beer together, the crew, which was great. We love all those folks. And then we were off to the airport and back, and it was like, like I generally love traveling. I like the adventure. I love going someplace and getting to hang out for a couple days and playing and seeing your friends. But that kind of travel, like if there's not a third day, there's not like it just
A buffer.
feels, yeah,
You need a
it
buffer
just,
day.
and you should remember that, like when if somebody tells you they travel for a living or they do a lot of travel for their job, just remember, like unless they got airline perks, which we don't really like,
Let's say get the lounge.
yeah, and like first class or business class or whatever, like maybe
Yeah.
it sucks a little bit less, but I don't know. I just like getting the car to the airport, getting through security. Like every airline makes all this stuff suck so bad now, and it's like fighting for overhead bin space, and like.
It
And
used
if they didn't all charge an arm and leg for bags, I would just check it and just be
right.
like, whatever, it's gonna get there. But they've made it so that you don't want to check a bag because you don't want to pay them. The trick is to just have them gate check your bag because you just take it through security and then they don't charge you to gate check it. So
Yep. That's what I
little
always
hack for
hope
you there.
for.
Yeah.
I
They also don't check how many bags you're taking through security. So at least I've never seen
yeah.
them do it. So you can walk up with like 4 bags and be like, "Oops."
Yeah, no one said
Now they
anything.
might get you for that, but
And that's not
don't
saying
quote
that we
me.
don't still like there is still that excitement of we're flying somewhere for a gig. We're going somewhere, um and although we all flew separately, we're all from different areas in the Bay Area, and part of our group had to return back to San Francisco or Oakland or something like that because of mechanical issues, which does not do well for my travel anxiety because I tend to have some travel anxiety that I keep in check.
Well,
But
the mechanical issue was that they were worried the door was going to fly off. So that's probably something they smartly didn't want to go over the Rocky Mountains with that, because if you're over the Rocky Mountains and something happens, you got to get down quick. There's no airports in the Rocky Mountains. You're either continuing on to Denver or you're turning all the way around. So I think it was precautionary, but also not ideal for a number of reasons.
right, I probably wouldn't have got back on the plane.
I mean, it took
I would
them,
have been so. And fun fact, I wasn't even singing on this gig. This is the first time with rock and roll team building. I was there more as support, like more admin,
you were, I mean,
stage
yeah,
hand,
co-host, yeah,
co-host kind of thing, which was
herding
terrifying.
cats, making sure everybody's where they're supposed to be.
It was terrifying in a whole other way, but it was also that thing of, which doesn't happen too often. I am pretty good at this. Actually just happened yesterday. I am not the type of performer or singer that shows up at other people's gigs expecting to perform or work or sing, whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it. I don't find it work, so it's always funny when people say it that way. But I showed up yesterday to a friend's gig just to hang and see them, and they called me up. I don't dilly dally though. I'm also not the one that's like, oh no, that's okay, whatever. You call my name and you ask me to come up and sing, I'm coming up. Like we're not doing that banter thing, and I'm not going to
Yeah.
pretend that I'm
Play hard to get.
not going to do that.
Oh, I couldn't possibly. What songs do you guys know?
Right. But this one was I was very happy I wasn't doing the gig in rock and roll team building because it was very much the songwriting portion. So that wasn't anything I was really going to
You would have
contribute.
been co-hosting and herding cats anyway, because that's basically what Keith was doing.
Right.
Our
So
buddy Keith did a
this
great
was a
job.
room, and this was the biggest room we've done that with. So there was 275 participants, and they were doing it in groups, and each group, there was a group of like 10 to 15 people in each group, and they were writing a song, and then they were going to get up and play it with the band. And y'all, this is when like I was laughing at and thinking of how Nick, our fearless leader, must feel, because the pride and being like the proud mama on the side of the stage of like, look at my people, look at my family up there. And they were doing such a good job of, I mean, there had been no rehearsal. You guys didn't rehearse the genres of songs you were going to do.
Yeah, no,
And it's
we had to do 10. It was 10 songs, and ideally they're different genres. So in the past, it's sort of been like a, they'd come up, well, what style do you want? Let's get a, like, and going into this one, I was like, we have to have 10 styles figured out, and we have to have at least a starting point for what those songs sound like. It's just there's not enough time to try to actually like improvise something on stage. And also, like, if you let people pick, they'll pick the same two genres over and over again. So
right.
kind of forcing people, and like, your table is this, your table is this, your table's this, I think was super helpful. But also, everybody in the band all came up with some song ideas, and we all sent them to each other, and everybody just did their homework. Because we didn't. I mean, the sound check got so wacky, we didn't run anything. Basically, we made sure that things were making sound and we could hear ourselves, and that was basically it.
Ooh, it was a thing. And like I said, I have light, I would say light travel anxiety, but on that trip, it was like, I think really what it comes down to is I did have bad dreams before the gig, but I have a really hard time with altitude. And I think it really affects me, and it like I get loopy, and it like makes me like not feel in my body and grounded. And I was like really struggling on this trip. I didn't have time to think about it during the show. It was a long day. We were there from like 9:30 to 3 or something like that, and it was like playing the whole time.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but everybody was so kind, everybody was so cool. The band, I mean, I don't think the band gets enough credit of how much we rally, and especially on this trip, the way you guys did is we always have to be on, and we always have, there's so many, we have to be kind and generous with the participants. We have to be kind and generous with the stage hands, the crew, the lighting, the AV. We
And
have
with
to
each
be
and with each
kind
other.
with each
Yeah, yeah.
other. And I think we do. I think this group is so good with that. I mean, there's sometimes it's that thing of like where they say marriage isn't 50-50, which we know this. It's not. It's 20-80 sometimes. It's 60-40. It's, it's you're always, someone's always helping pick up the slack a little bit. And I think this band and the group of people that we've surrounded ourselves with, that we've done a good job of that, of people that can give and take. And I think we were really rallying around the people that were struggling on this gig. And then the next one is going to be somebody getting me through. And it's usually, I mean, you're usually that person for me. It's just by default, and
I'm
it's
sometimes
not
that person for a lot of people.
completely fair. I mean, you really are I always say you're the diplomatic one, and it always, like, you always set examples for that. So that was fun. We have another one coming up. We're going to San Diego just in a couple days here with
Much easier
basically,
one than the one we just did. I'll say that.
I get to sing this time. I don't have to do any of the um, songwriting or soundtrack stories, which we will pull a card in a second of soundtrack stories. And then we got home, we landed, and immediately went into a fundraiser for one of our homies. And that was super fun. But then lately on the travel, the other stressful thing of travel is worrying about sickness. That's my other anxiety. I promise I'm not like a huge worry wart all the time, but a lot of the time, maybe. But I mask on
Sure, we can
planes.
go with that.
You've been masking on planes too, but you're the one that's been getting sick. So we come home and Kyle is in such denial. It was driving me insane. You were driving me insane. He was telling me he wasn't sick, or it was, wasn't anything, but you could hear it. It was getting pretty bad, and it never gets sick. You'd never get sick. If anybody is going to be sick, it's going to be me. And he started slowly losing his voice, and so we went into a weekend of gigs where we weren't sure if you were going to make it through the end. And I did have to bail you out on one gig, and that's super stressful because this was a gig that you didn't even think you were going to do in the beginning because it was a reschedule. So get this, first time Kyle was never going to be on a Mercy gig. Well, there was one time, we'll talk about that. But it was for a friend, and they were okay with everybody else doing the gig and me getting a sub for you. And you were having such FOMO. And it was so funny because there's never a scenario where that's really ever going to happen. Like, you would have to be really down and out, and it would be last minute. But the fact that we were planning this and you were kind of on the fringes of it and everything, you were helping me with the set. And then, and there was in some weird way, I was saying this before, that I don't like doing gigs without you, and I don't like being on my own without you. But there was this little thing of kind of getting a chance to lead the band without you that I was kind of not excited about, but I just would like to prove that I do actually do this. That it's not all Kyle that does it.
I mean, you spent many years leading your own bands and do duos with your sister and stuff, so it's not certainly not something that I think, but
Right. But I know that people were kind of in the band were teasing me of like, are you going to MC? Are you going to do this? Or who's going to be rallying this way? All this stuff. It would have been fine. But due to a medical emergency, it was rescheduled. So you were able to do it. But you were able, so we were excited that you could do it. But then you completely lost your voice like at the end.
yeah, with about 20 minutes to spare, and I was like, okay, I think I probably can like hack my way through the last. There's like Blink 182 songs and stuff, but like I couldn't even like kind of shout or what. Like it just was gone. I was doing good through the first set, and the second we took a break, my voice was like, oh, okay, cool, so we're done. And then when we went back on, it was just like, oh, this is a definite step down, a definite challenge. Sucks. I don't recommend it.
No. And
It doesn't really happen to me. I mean, I'll get a little hoarse or I'll get a little tired because I haven't always taken care of my voice the way I should. But it bounces back, and I've never really like fully lost it. That's the first time I can remember. There might have been a couple times where I've been on other people's gigs and I'm like, I'm not singing because my voice is just not up for it. And
Right.
we would have gigs coming up, and I'm like, I have to just.
Yeah. I mean, the beauty with being that we run our own band, I mean, we get to check in with each other. Kyle does the set list, but I have input, and you'll check with me like, hey, this is going to be the third gig this week. How do you feel about doing this song here? Should I move it up? Do you need more time to warm up? Are you worried that you're not going to be able to hit these songs? So we have to take into consideration our vocal health in the long term and in the short term. And it's different week to week. And I've been really making strides in my vocal health with my chronic acid reflux, I guess, and everything. But when illness comes up, man, again, I get really anxious and stressed about it because you don't want to be that performer on stage that prefaces every song with "I'm sick" or like "I'm under the
Yeah.
weather." Like
No.
that is like so amateur
Yeah.
and not pro, and it just looks like you're pandering. So I mean, I guess it's different if you're, I know Haley and from Paramore was having issues and stuff like that, and if you say something like that's a little different. But like if you're in a wedding, like my voice is under the weather, like don't do that. That's just quick hot
I'm gonna
tip.
ask
Hot take.
if you get a
Don't.
discount for that or not.
Yeah. And then, so we did a couple shows. And then one of the fun shows that I wanted to bring up too is that we backed up Victoria George with her album release. Everybody go get that record, go listen to it. It is so, I cannot tell enough people and shout it from the rooftops of how good it is. Kyle is all over the record. He was played drums, background vocals, percussion. It is so good. The songs are well written. They're well produced. They're played well. She sings amazing. She herself had a medical issue. She's spoken about it, so I feel it's okay to talk about.
Yeah.
She had a brain tumor, and so she had brain surgery a year or two ago, and so this is the
And then a bunch of radiation after that.
yeah. It's but like holy moly, so good. So just know that like it really helps, and if you want to hear live music and you want to support artists do their shows and put out music, buy the records, show up and buy a ticket. But you will not be sorry with this record, even if you don't like she's country
Yeah, country
country
Americana.
Americana.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like it, you'll find something on there that like you'll if you say I'm not a country fan, you'll like something on
Yeah,
this
there's
record.
little
It's so good.
bluegrassy parts and little rock and roll parts, and it
Pop
skews into
and
Tom Petty territory, and you get to sing on some songs on the record too, which is super fun to have you in the studio working with us. And yeah, it was a great band. It was at the Sweetwater Music Hall, and it was fun. Fun way to spend an evening. A lot of people came out, so it felt triumphant, which was great. And there's going to be lots more coming from that record because she's just starting to promote it.
so good. So Victoria George, and I believe the album is called Wilderness.
And it's Victoria George, and the High Lonesome album is going to be called Wilderness. I don't know when it technically comes out.
I think the single's out.
Wilderness is out, yes.
Not Wilderness.
Not Wilderness. Every little bit. Yeah.
Every little bit is out. You can find that. Kyle keeps looking at the clock for me because I have to pick up Roxy soon. We're kind of being speedy, but this is good. We need deadlines and parameters.
Yeah,
we work better that way.
Sometimes you get an hour and 15-minute episode. Sometimes you'll get, like a 30-minute episode, and that's fine.
But part of the reason we're behind on our episodes is you having lost your voice. We couldn't even record the podcast because couldn't even speak. And I thought about doing one on my own. But again, we'd have to rename the show for one. It could have been like today's episode with Mercy, but it's not the same.
Well, I was stoked because that gig where I lost my voice, I called out. Yeah, I normally teach drum lessons on Sundays. I called out because I was dealing with the sinus thing still, and I didn't have a voice, and I was just like, it's going to be such a bear for me to teach. I don't know if I'm contagious. I don't think I am, but I try not to make my students sick. They try to make me sick. I appreciate it. So I basically didn't sing or really use my voice much for the whole week. I didn't sing at rehearsals. And then Saturday we played another fundraiser, which was super fun. It was a country theme, funny enough. But it was Mercy. But it was Mercy as Electric Rodeo. It was a whole thing.
Mercy and the Heartbeats presents Electric Rodeo, a prime country experience.
Mercy does a fair bit of country, and we did a fair bit of country, but we also put some other stuff in. But everybody at that fundraiser dressed up and really went all in on it. And it was one of those things it was the classic we've had a DJ in the past because DJs are just more cost effective, and I understand. But I've lost track of the number of times where we've played events like that, and they're like, we usually have a DJ, everybody leaves, or a majority of the people leave right as soon as the auction is over, right? And it's happened to us on stuffier events, let's put it that way, old demographic.
Have to get home to the babysitter.
Yeah, but we also a fair amount of the time when we hear that, then when we play, people stick around, and that was nothing different on this one. People stuck around and had a great time and really went all in on the party aspect of it, which is super fun for us. So, and my voice was back, and I had my voice that day, and I had my voice for the Victoria show the next night. And because if you'd asked me on Saturday what I thought I would have next weekend, I was like, if we get to Thursday and I'm still kind of in a really bad shape, you're probably gonna have to maybe think about getting a sub.
Who would I even get? Who would I even get?
I don't want to speculate. There's much better singers than me in the Bay Area,
There's
but
there's a couple that
there's
I love and they know who they are.
yeah.
And
But I bring a certain something, even though there's better singers. I bring a certain something unique to me to the table
well,
on
and
these shows.
together, I mean, that's
Yeah.
the whole reason we made Mercy, is because of our chemistry together. And we, so one of the things about Mercy and the Heartbeats that was born, or why it was born, is we noticed that, this is no shade to anybody, but nobody leaned into their partnership of their like if they're married couples, you didn't even know, or they wouldn't lean into it and everything. And we're like, well, what if we, like, we're sassy and we're sarcastic, but we have a lot of chemistry. I mean, you and I ooze chemistry, I feel. So we're like, well, what if we lean into that? Would that be like scary for people? The amount of people that have hired us because of it, and that have spoken about it and spoken to it. I mean, I can't even repeat the one couple. Remember the one groom that was like, okay, I need to know, are you all effing each other, you know? And because
In a
I,
good
and if you're not, you should
in a
be.
good week, yeah.
And there's been so many people that have said that they hired us, like that was part of the thing that won them over, is they liked that we are a couple and that we just the energy that we put out together and everything. And I think that's what, like, you there are people that I work well with on stage, and there's people that you work well with on stage, but there's something different about what we bring together, I feel, on stage together.
Yeah.
And yes, I could get a sub. And I'm not even above, like I have a good healthy ego, but I know that someone could step in and do my job and fill in for me, and it would be fine. Like, I wouldn't love it and it wouldn't be the same, but it would get done. I mean, let's not be too precious about stuff. But how much time do we have?
3 minutes.
3 minutes?
It's 2:27.
Seriously? Oh my gosh. We might have to, like, pause and come back. That's okay. I'll save this can be a more lighthearted one, because I was going to go on a rant. So we'll save the rant for the next
okay.
episode.
Yeah.
But so this would be a good time to pull a card.
Yeah.
So we're going to pull a card from Soundtrack Stories. This is the deck that Nicole, our rock and roll team building leader, started. And it's a deck of cards, and they're all like subcategories. They're like connection, healing, stuff like that. But I'm going to you blindly pick a card. You pick a card.
Any card.
Any card.
Okay. What's a song you associate with someone you loved but lost in distance, time, or life?
Well, I'm going to start crying right away.
Should we pick a more lighter hard one?
Yeah.
Gonna sum up in
Oh, my Lord.
in 2.5 minutes.
I have so many, but for me, see, automatically tears. I really, really equate the song Crystal Blue Persuasion with my dad, because that was a song that talk about, like, exactly what this is all about. Soundtrack story, times of our life. There is a video that I hope to get someday of us at the lake, and the radio was on playing whatever local radio station. But there's a moment where it literally looks like a music video, and the camera's pointed out over the water. We're on the boat, and I'm playing and laughing with my dad, and the sun is on the water and everything. And it just is so magical. And every time I hear that song, it takes me back to that time, because my dad couldn't swim, but that didn't keep him from going and doing things with us. And even if he was out of his comfort zone, he wanted us to be able to enjoy certain things. So he didn't let that keep him from going and participating with us. And he was terrified of water. And but that always makes me think of that time and of him. And okay.
Well, I mean, I also lost my mom. So you've lost your dad. I lost my mom earlier. I lost her when I was 26. Um, and she passed at home. She was battling cancer, and she passed at home. We had a hospice nurse coming by to help us. But one of the things they tell you to do when this process is taking place is to play calming music, but comforting, calming music they like. And my mom, especially towards that part of her life, just loved that. I can't say the whole name because I'll just screw it up, but that is the Hawaiian singer, the ukulele
Oh,
Hawaiian
yes.
singer, really big guy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Loved that record, the one with Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
And his version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I can't get through. I can't probably get through it without crying.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one of the like CDs that was kind of on repeat for a number of days and nights. And that song, that's it. That's exactly where it takes me. On a lighter note, I asked my dad later, like, what if, because I don't know, when I was younger, I didn't know much about my parents' relationship, but I was like, did you and mom have like a song or anything like that? Because they were both huge music fans. It's one of the things they connected on, and it's one of the main reasons that I got so obsessed with music, is music was on everywhere, in the house, in the car, whatever. And he said that God, no, I can't think of the gosh darn name. It's a Van Morrison song, "Into the Mystic." He said that was the closest thing they had to like a song. So then that song also reminds me of them. So cheated and did two answers.
Yeah, that's cheating. So don't let people say that music isn't important. And I guarantee, like for me, the songs that Victoria George, going back to her and her album that's coming out, a lot of it is so deep because she wrote it. And I know there's a part of her that doesn't want to be known for the woman that survived a brain tumor and everything, but gosh darn, she did. And it's what a celebration of getting through all of that. And the stuff that she has poured into her music and her writing is just so majestic. And it's so big. And but this is like exactly why we do what we do. I mean, there's so much we have in connection with. They always say, well, one of my favorite songs, the song "Remembers When," is a Trisha Yearwood song, and it's all about how like songs can take you back to a place, and it could takes you to a feeling. So if you're having trouble accessing feelings, do it this way, because I think this is a really great exercise of like it's not as vulnerable as going like, tell me what you're feeling right now, or how did you feel about this? But if you can like access that feeling through songs, and we do it every time we sing. At least I do. Every time I sing and perform a song, I have to connect with it in some way to be able to be authentic and bring something to the performance. And if you can't do that, I don't think you should be performing. I don't think you should be doing that. But there has to be something that you connect with. And so I think this is a really good practice for anybody out there that is kind of like, I don't think I know how to name feelings or whatever. Get this deck, Soundtrack Stories, or something like it, and just start pulling cards for yourself. You don't have to answer for anybody else, but it's a great way to start.
I agree. Prompts help.
All right, I'm gonna go pick up our kid.
Yeah.
But we'll see you next time. We'll have a longer one, and we'll have a rant in the next one.
Yep.
You just wait. Love you.
Love you too.
You said that you found me, but you know that it was I found